Alright, so Bad Blood is coming up, and there's been a massive discussion being held about one specific element of Bad Blood, and that is what should be the main event of said pay-per-view. Well, there are two frontrunners right now, that being Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline, or CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. So let's go through both, let's see why both should main event, and then let's go over my thoughts on what I personally believe should be the main event. So let's start off with the one that probably will main event because it's Roman Reigns, and that is the tag team match. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline. Now, it's Roman's first match back since WrestleMania. It's Roman's first big, feud since coming back. You know, we've seen the Bloodline develop into Solo Sikoa's new regime, I guess you could say, the Sikoa regime of the Bloodline, and since then, it's been very much a waiting game on when is Roman coming back, and when are we getting that massive moment, that shot in the arm that I feel like the Bloodline story has needed for quite some time, because as much as, Jacob Fatu has been incredible, and even, Tama Tonga has been, showcasing what he's capable of, it does feel like the Bloodline has been spinning its tires since WrestleMania, and we have been waiting for that Roman Reigns return for things to really start picking up again. But do we really want this to be the main event? Because when we really look at it, we have a story featuring the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, where the belt isn't on the line, where it's somebody that Cody has now beaten twice in the form of Solo Sikoa's in the match. Jacob Fatu's in the match, so could benefit a lot from being in that main event. And obviously, like I said, it's Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is the top draw, I guess you could say, right? When you look objectively and when you just look purely at the facts, Roman Reigns is probably the biggest draw that WWE has going for them right now. He's over as hell. I've not been watching SmackDown as much as I probably should be, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, Roman's been getting really good reactions, and that has been translating to the Bloodline and Cody. Cody's also had a pretty decent run as champion and has had his fair share of main event matches. I mean, the match against AJ Styles at Backlash, the Trios match at Money in the Bank, and then obviously the Bloodline Rules match against Solo Sikoa where Roman Reigns came back. So it makes sense, right? You've got Cody Rhodes, who they clearly see as the main event babyface of the company at the moment. Unless it's Gunter at Bash in Berlin, or there's a big marquee match that needs to happen last. Cody is usually the guy that they usually put on last at the moment, right? And Roman Reigns has been a guy that we know for the past 2-3 years has always gone on last. I can't remember the last time he didn't main event a pay-per-view. Let's actually get the facts, because I like doing this. So let's see, that was the main event, that didn't main event, did it? No. Okay, so it was actually the Rumble was the last time that Roman didn't main event, but still, then that was a multi-man match. But historically, main event, well, it was probably the main event of the house show, the main event. But you can see where I'm coming from there, where Roman historically main events. So if we're looking just objectively at the stats and the facts, then yeah, obviously Roman main eventing Bad Blood seems like the way to go. But I do personally believe that the next offering should main event, and that is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Look, this is me being incredibly biased, because I think Drew McIntyre is incredible, and CM Punk is, if we take away the man, if we take away Phil, CM Punk is still one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And, it's hard to say that he won't be, because he just is, right? He's always going to be one of my favorite wrestlers, and yeah. And this feud has reminded me just how good he is, because Punk has only wrestled a few matches since being in WWE, and yet he still feels like one of the biggest deals in the company. Obviously, it's CM Punk, right? Like, he's done a lot in WWE, in wrestling in general, and is always going to be one of those polarizing figures that is always going to be, on everybody's lips, I guess you could say. But for them to have this story of him and Drew go from all the way from the Rumble to now, it's like 9 months, it is insane, right? And they've only had 2 matches, they've had a couple brawls, you know, they've gotten involved in each other's business, and well, it's mainly Punk getting involved in Drew's business and then Drew retaliating. But it's a really cool story, right? Because it's one of those ones where the heel is being presented in a way where you can completely understand where Drew's coming from, right? Like, Punk screwed him over at Clash at the Castle, and since then, that is all that Drew can really think about, right? Drew got screwed over at Mania, but that was his own fault because he focused on Punk instead of celebrating and then just leaving. Then he got screwed over at Clash at the Castle by Punk, which was absolutely, you know, Punk was just there to stir shit, basically. And then got screwed over at Money in the Bank. Drew has beaten the hell out of Punk many a time. And then Punk loses the special guest ref match, Punk wins the strap match, and now we're on our rubber match, which is Hell in a Cell, which is the first time in... let's do another Google search. So the last one was April 2nd, 2023. So it will officially be about 18 months since we've had a Hell in a Cell match. Which, you know, that's big, right? That's massive. The first time in 18 months is a big deal. And I believe that it should be treated as such. And the only way that you can treat it as such, to me personally, is have it main event. Because this, I feel, determines who is probably going to be one of the front runners to either dethrone or have one of the biggest matches of Gunther's world title run. It makes no sense to have one of these two win and then go on to do nothing, right? Maybe the Rumble in, 3-4 months, because it's at the beginning of February now, so it's 4 months away technically at time of recording. So, you know, it's a 4-month build. We've still got like Survivor Series, which is next month. So if you really wanted to do like Drew versus Gunther or Punk versus Gunther, then that's probably the time to do it. Or again, you could build them up for the Rumble. But I still think the Bloodline story of Roman has enough to where you could put that on first, make it a massive angle. The match might not even happen. That's what I'm thinking, right? It's like, who do you have take the pin in the tag match, right? Whereas with the Hell in a Cell match, you know somebody's taking a pin, right? They're not going to do Fiend Seth Rollins again. There's no way. They've learned from that, right? I really hope that doesn't come to bite me in the ass, but you never know. But I genuinely do think that there is more to having the Hell in a Cell match main event than having any other match main eventing the show, right? I know the Bloodline story has been going on for like 4 years now, but in terms of like where we are with the Bloodline, their feud has really only been about 2 months because Roman's only just come back at SummerSlam. So I don't even think it's been 2 months. No, it has. It was August to now, so about 2 months for this version, this arc, I guess you could say, of the Bloodline story. Whereas Punk and Drew's been 9 months. It's the first Hell in a Cell match in 18 months. You've got to make this stipulation feel special again, right? There's a reason why they've gotten rid of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. They've gotten rid of, you know, having Hell in a Cell matches just willy-nilly just because, oh, we want to sell Hell in a Cell matches. It means something again. And in order for it to truly mean something again, you have to just let it feel as big as humanly possible. And the only way you can do that is by having it main event. Like I said, I get it. The Bloodline is a draw. Roman is a draw. But are we saying that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre aren't draws? Are we saying the Hell in a Cell match isn't a draw? Are we saying Roman Reigns is bigger than the Hell in a Cell match? I don't know. Well, we're going to find out, because to me, it's the first time where a Hell in a Cell match feels important enough that it should go above everything else that's going on. Everything else just doesn't feel like it hits. Not even the tag match, right? And I'll say it, you know, I'm being biased by being a big Punk and Drew guy. I'm saying that the Bloodline stuff is really starting to just kind of feel a bit old for me. But I still do believe that the best way forward and the best route to go is by making the Hell in a Cell feel important. Hark back to, was Bad Blood the place? The first Hell in a Cell match was in Bad Blood. If the first Hell in a Cell was in Bad Blood, and now the first one in 18 months is at Bad Blood, let's just lean on it, man. First time in a year and a half, we're bringing it back in the place where it all started at Bad Blood. It's probably the biggest feud on Raw. Raw needs this, man. Raw needs this. SmackDown, you can have Roman main event Survivor Series. It's fine, right? We all know that the men's War Games match is probably going to be Bloodline versus Roman's Bloodline. You know, the Sikoa regime versus the Reigns regime. Let's just give Punk and Drew their moment, alright? Let's build up Raw. Let's build up that world title scene. And then we can have more of these conversations as the years go on. Because it really does feel like Raw needs something. Because Roman's a proven draw. And Roman is just going to be able to main event any pay-per-view he so chooses. You know, it's just Roman Reigns. But in my opinion, you have a chance to just go Drew and Punk main event. Tag match opens the show. Both get their moment because Roman, I swear he said something about he wants to be either first or last. He never wants to be in the middle of the card. Just have him on first and just have him, you know, do his thing, right? I can't remember where the Fatal 4-Way World title match was, but I think that was in the middle of the card, so maybe things have changed. But that's my thought. Punk and Drew should main event Bad Blood. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Bloodline tag match should main event? Or are you on my side and do you think that Punk and Drew should main event? Once again, let me know. And yeah, see ya.